Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos Country. Welcome to the first off-season edition, this year anyway, of the Bourbon Broncos No BS show. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. My name's KevDan. I got the man, the myth, the legend, Spotty over there. Spotty, I do want to start with saying that just for future reference, the big black cowboy hat is a fan favorite. So if you could just make sure to always have that on you, ready to go, I think the fans would appreciate it. But dude, super important stuff going on. I mean, the Pro Bowl is tonight. Tell me everything you're thinking in regards to how excited you are with the Pro Bowl.
Is that tonight? Like, you actually surprised me a little bit. It's not even a football
I saw a
game
video,
anymore, right?
No, I saw a video and it was like, wait, that's tonight. I'm like, that's news to me too. I had no idea.
I did see a couple of clips about it, and I know for sure. Actually, the clip that I saw was Dion Dawkins of Buffalo Bills asking Nick Bonito if he puts ketchup on his eggs, and I'm a little appalled that people put ketchup on their eggs.
Oh really?
Is this a thing? Like, was I just not aware of this? I'm very much a hot sauce guy on my eggs, and if it's not, I like bacon on my eggs.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. That's fair, man. Jeez.
You put ketchup on your eggs, KevDan?
Of course. Well, why wouldn't you?
Hey, look.
I'm just kidding. Are you kidding me? I was gonna try to find a way to roll with that, but just thinking about it was so disturbing.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's the highlight of the Pro Bowl, though. By the way, that's my highlight.
That's about. I'm ready for the Broncos to be playing in the game that matters in February, and I don't think they're too far away. I think this offseason, man, is probably the most important offseason we've seen in a long time. I'm talking even before Peyton Manning era. But just start with some of your basic thoughts for Broncos offseason plans, tactics, and then we'll get into some talk about all the coaching changes the Broncos have seen in the last week or so.
I can't remember an offseason that I'm more excited about than this particular one. I maybe it was the offseason right after we signed Russell Wilson, and that's also a time that I was naive to believe that we were a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl.
I was there too.
But guess what? Hey, we've got a quarterback, we've got a defense. Holistically, we're coming back whole, and the biggest thing that I cannot stress enough about this particular offseason is the fact that we are going to get $32 million back. I did see that we're going to still have to pay Russell like $1.5 million, but in considering how much we've paid him over the last 2 years, that's nickel and dimes. And then, of course, I'm not sure if it's huge news, and not a lot of people have talked about it, but the salary cap is again going up. And it's going up another potentially 21 plus million. So 30 million plus 21 plus million. I like those numbers. That allows us to do a lot of wheeling and dealing. And the Broncos have never been, outside again Russell Wilson, the type of franchise to shell out big bucks for people who they really didn't think was going to be a fit on this team. So I definitely would say the moves, if we do make any moves in free agency, what I think it's going to be more about locking up the people that we have on this team, which we've done a really good job about doing.
No, I would agree with that. And I like the way I think Greg Penner put it, saying that they were going to be optimistically aggressive. And I think that's a good way to put it. You don't want to just go spend the money because you have the money to spend, right? Just because we have all this free, cap space this year, I don't think the Broncos are going to max it out. if there's some players out there that you go back to talking about really deserve and do belong in the locker room, not just from a talent standpoint, but from a culture standpoint, they'll be aggressive in getting them. And I think if there's somebody we want, we'll get them, right? But it is interesting to say that, we haven't been in this situation. Well, we haven't been aggressive in free agency before, at least not in a long time, but this would be the time to do it, right? The team is still young. They're healthy. They're hungry, all those cliches and whatnot. So I think as long as they're smart about it, and then you got to take into account that we've also been hitting on the draft pretty well the last, 4 or 5 years. So it takes the pressure off of free agency. You're not trying to build a team through free agents. And that at least in recent history, that hasn't worked, right? Between the Chiefs, the Eagles. If you want to build a dynasty and a team that's going to be more than a one and done in the Super Bowl, you've got to do well through the draft. So I like where we're sitting there. And so free agency, there'll be some news, but I think, again, we're going to be more focused on the draft and building that way too.
I've said it a couple of times over the last couple of years. If we were Eagles West, I'm fine with that. And I'm not talking about signing Eagles players. When I'm talking about the way that the franchise has found a way to wheel and deal, they've drafted well. And by drafting well, Howie just takes whatever SEC, Georgia, Auburn, LSU player or whatever, but that's worked for them. And then they fit the players that fit their system onto the team, and they haven't done anything crazy. Like I say that, and they've had Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown, but to get Saquon, it was a free agent. It was just a free agent paying him money, and to get AJ Brown, they just had to have the Titans be stupid. So there's the hope that there's a team out there that will also be stupid and maybe give us a couple extra pieces for our Super Bowl run.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. That Barkley's in the same bucket. The fact that the Giants are willing to let him go, like that doesn't make sense, right? Especially for where he was at in his career and everything we had seen from him so far. So I know we're going to talk about coaches today, and we'll save that maybe now for the end because we do have a comment here from James. I want to see us get Bryce Hall, David Njoku, and Pickens get a right tackle in the draft. So let's go through these, man. Let's just start off with Bryce Hall is one of the big names going around. Where do you feel or stand on him?
I'm a little torn. Like I really like Bryce Hall. Not just like the fantasy football nerd in me, someone who's paid attention to that, and the Jets have probably never used him well, but he's been fantastic. And when it comes to running back, it's always about price for me. Do we pay them all absorbent amount of money? And I say absorbent, I'm talking about absorbent running back money. We know that their bodies tend to break down a little bit. Health is wealth when it comes to that position. And we saw that this year when it comes to J.K. Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
Brees is someone who stayed really healthy. I would think that out of the potential free agent players that are on the market, he's probably first of mine, number one on the list that I like. And mostly because he can do it all, and then home run hitter, and it takes some pressure off somebody like 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐻. But of course, that all depends on how the Broncos feel about J.K. Dobbins. Like what are we going to do with J.K.?
Mm-hmm. To me, I think it's an easy answer. I think the message to JK when he came over was, look, we're going to see how this year goes. If you're healthy all year long, we'll roll the dice again with you, right? But your main role here is to help RJ have time to acclimate to NFL play and culture and speed. And your job is to, help keep the team afloat in the running game as long as you can. And hopefully you stay healthy and we'll do everything you can to stay healthy. But when he went down and wasn't even able to come back in the playoffs, to me, there's better players and maybe more reliable players to spend that money on. And maybe the answer isn't this year. Maybe it's for a next year pickup, right? But as much good as JK did, I think it would just be, how many years of the John Elway era did we see all these free agents come in that all of them had injury histories? And then were any of us surprised when they went down again during the regular season? So as much as I love JK and I loved what he was able to do when he was on the field, the fact he couldn't get back on the field, and I know it was just a bad injury and all that stuff, but it's just, here we go again. Are we gonna fall back in that pattern of we really like him when he's there half the time, right? I just Appreciate it, JK. Thanks for everything, but we're moving on.
And maybe it's the solution is, JK said that he wants to be a Bronco. If he comes back at a veteran-friendly price tag,
Yeah, sure.
and
Okay.
the conversation is had with him, like, we're going to bring in somebody for competition. We want a 1A, 1B kind of situation. That maybe that'll work, but 100% he's not going to be the one toting the rock the vast majority of time. It's probably going to end up being whoever we bring in is going to be the lion's share of carries, and JK is going to come in just to kind of change of pace for us. And then we know RJ, we can then run him all over the backfield and wide receiver for that quote unquote joker position.
That I'd be okay with. Because again, as much as I believe RJ's ceiling is still way above him where he is right now, he has tons of room to grow. He is not ready to even be considered a 1B. I'm not ready to even hand him that responsibility, those keys, right? Like, yeah, and maybe because 𝐁𝐫𝐶 is running back as well, correct? Tight end. So, well then, Breece Hall. If there is somebody else out there, I know we were talking in the chat. There's not too many things in free agency though, so it's almost like Breece Hall or nothing. And then you're right, like maybe because there's really nothing else available, maybe we do risk bringing JK back, and maybe JK is healthy all next season long, and I can go eat crow, and I can call up JK personally and say, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't believe in you hard enough. I'm ready to go. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I have his number.
I think we'd all be happy with that, right? I would love to be wrong. Okay. We don't say these takes hoping they'll be right all the time, but just to kind of speak to the David Njoku part.
Yeah. Cause that's,
so David Njoku, Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller, there are a couple of tight ends that are out there that are going to be free agents this year. I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't think the Broncos are going to bring in a free agent tight end. And the reason that I don't believe that the Broncos are going to bring in a free agent tight end, this actually might be the better than last year, tight end draft class. So the Broncos at this point are taking the best player on their draft board. We've seen the last couple of years that was a Zyde Barron kind of situation where there was an Amarion Hampton out there, but they actually had Barron ranked higher. From the reports that I'm seeing, and some of you guys know I'm a nerd about some of the football games or the college football games and the Senior Bowl. There are a lot of young, powerful wideout / tight ends that do also block that I think the Broncos could covet, and there's the potential for them to drop to them in the late first round, potential in the second round. So I could see that being them just foregoing trying to pay tight end money, which is getting outrageous right now. I mean, you guys got to think about Travis Kelce and Kittle. All of them are getting paid a lot of money, so tight ends are getting paid.
It makes me wonder if we're actually going to, and this will be a good, we'll split up this conversation because the second half will be how Sean Payton did not employ, oh geez,
Evan Ingram.
Thank you, Evan Ingram.
Got him on the team. Like, that's how bad.
But that's maybe I like, and that wasn't me faking. Like that was, but that's I was like, wait, who is that guy? I think I saw him out there a few times. But really lacking what we thought we were going to get him from. And I was listening to the radio, and again, you don't know. This is what they reported was apparently Sean Payton was mad when they let Evan Ingram walk out the building and go visit the Chargers. He was mad. He wanted that guy in the building and to stay in the building. And so to see this season play out where there was almost no real utilization of him, and I got to be honest, part of it's on him too. I mean, how many drop passes did he have? There were a lot, right? He had take how many touchdowns did I have in the NFL this year?
Zero.
It was zero. Guess how many more Evan Ingram had than me?
I want to say one. He had one more touchdown in the NFL than me. Okay. So is that some of that on Evan Ingram for not capitalizing on the chances when he had him? Yeah. Is that also like, how many times did we see the ball even try to go to Evan Ingram? Right. There are whole games that I feel like that he could have been present. I don't know. But then there's other games I'm like, is he hurt? Is he there? Is he present? I don't know.
Agreed. Totally agreed. So we'll talk about what that might mean in terms of Sean Payton potentially giving up play calling responsibilities. But I just, because we're also paying Evan Ingram $17 million next year, one, I don't see us cutting him because we're done with dead money for a while, like at least large chunks of it. Let's be done with it.
Yeah.
But if we need to get someone through the draft, is maybe, okay, if this next year of Ingram doesn't work out, then we have somebody already going into a second year by that point, everything, right? But I really want them, and I hope and I believe that they're going to go out this offseason, really look at seeing, why did this guy, this piece that we really wanted, not pan out? What was our part of it? What can we do better next year to utilize him to his full potential?
I think Sean kind of said it at the end of the year. He took a lot of the blame for some of the play calling, and he was like, I need to take a look at what I've been doing, and I need to take a look at, what we can do. And I hope that the opportunity for that tight end is, something that he is looking at, because in this particular NFL now, we can, as a matter of fact, we could probably point to some of the best tight ends in the NFL around our own damn division. Okay. And, how do we know? Because they kill us, the Brock Bowers, the Travis Kelce's, and this kid from the Chargers who no one even knew. Oronde Gadsden or something like that. He came out of nowhere, and he still had more receiving yards than I think even our number 2 wide receiver. So this no longer the NFL where you have a tight end and you just throw the ball up to him and hope he comes down with touchdowns, because that's what Jimmy Graham was for Sean Payton. I can't really, and I guess the Taysom Hill, he's technically a tight end or a running back or a quarterback, whatever he was, depending on the day. This isn't the NFL anymore. These tight ends are as athletic and as big, and they can block as any players out there. You might make the argument that 2 of the tight ends that were drafted last year, Colston Loveland and Ty Warren, are as good as any wide receivers on the Broncos team right now. There is a player like that on there. I saw someone mention that they want to see Styles. They think he's the best tight end. I think if you guys want to see who the best tight end, the University of Oregon's got this guy named Sadiq. And quite honestly, he's just an athletic freak. He's like 6'4", 245. He can block, and his shoulders are the size of my head.
Yeah, can he catch a pass though?
Yeah, he led Oregon. He led Oregon receiving, and he graded out as pretty high on blocking too. So, but again, he may not be there for 30. Of course, we know how the draft goes. But if you see someone and you think you like him, you make some moves, right?
Well, hey, Spotty, are we in a Super Bowl window right now or not?
Yeah, and we have our draft.
That's what I'm saying.
We have all of our draft capital. Does the Broncos? This is crazy. This is actually the thought. Do the Broncos need to make 6 picks? I don't know how many total picks we have. The years most likely anywhere between 6 to 5 to 6, 7 picks. Do the Broncos need to make 7 picks?
No, we don't.
I don't think so.
No. So, and look, if there's a guy that it makes sense to move up the board and give up next year's first round as well, I'd be willing to have that conversation, because we're not in a rebuild. The rebuild is over. We're supposed to be talking about, hey, we're finally starting to see this thing come together. Okay, there's 10 to 15 players still that we need, right? So give it another 2 years. We're done with the rebuild. We should be sitting here right now, and I'm not we should be sitting here right now talking about us going to the Super Bowl. We're not. And that's okay, because again, I think this game exposed our offense for what they were. And I'm fine with that if that means that it's actually going to get really, truly addressed. Because I think if we had gone to the Super Bowl, either won, which I'm not complaining about that, but lost by a little bit. It was a tough game, close game. I don't think we'd be sitting here right now saying this offense really needs a lot of retooling, right? So if that's what's going to help get this offense over this hump finally, I'm all for it, man. I'm willing to have those conversations at the very least.
I think it's poetic that the Pats got to celebrate in our own stadium. I also believe that that's a little extra kick in the butt for the Broncos. You're going to watch another team celebrate in your stadium. Well, I know we want to get to coaches and we want to talk about that movement. I do want to check, because a couple people have written comments about George Pickens.
Yeah.
And yeah, as KevDan knows, and in our side chat, I wrote about George Pickens because George and Bo actually played against each other, and then they played on like an Alabama All-Star team together as well. George Pickens is a phenomenal asset. He's definitely going to be a number one wherever he goes. I do not trust George Pickens. If my idea of someone is it's a 50-50 chance that he'll be an all-pro or he'll go to jail, that's not a good way to look at it. He's too erratic, and with the type of person that Sean Payton is, I do not believe it's going to fly. Tomlin couldn't stomach him, so he traded him away from the Steelers. And then, of course, Brian Schottenheimer just let him do what he wanted to do until he had to get to the point where he had to suspend him for half a game with CeeDee Lamb. Sean's not going to suspend you for half a game. He's going to tell you to pack your bags.
Yeah. Well, and from what you're describing, I don't think that's even a name that Sean Payton's going to waste time considering. You know, like even if he did find a way into his building, there wouldn't be a second chance. There would be you had two chances already before, right? Trying to rage bait Spotty. Man, it doesn't always work, but I try.
Fine, Angela. We'll talk about this because we got to talk. We got to talk about the offense soon. So you maybe you will get me on screens.
So look, it'll be interesting. There's be a lot of talk of free agents, and as we get closer, guys, we'll break that down, and then of course we'll do some full-length shows around the time of the free agency opening up. So look around for announcements on that when we post our shorts and all that stuff online. We'll let you know when those shows go. Really quickly before we move over into some coaching discussions, guys, make sure you check out our website, broncosandbourbon.com. I am starting phase 2 of the website build. Trying to make it a little bit more user friendly, and I guess by request, we'll be dropping some of the annoying things like having to put in your birthday beforehand. I saw it was a good idea. Like if you have a page that has bourbon stuff or with liquor stuff tied to it, to have something where you have to enter your birthday. But I'm done messing with it myself because guess what? Every time I go in to try to mess with it, I also have to put in my birthday or just random birthdays. But still, like I get it. So there's changes coming to the website, guys, and I think you're gonna like it when I'm done with phase 2. This show Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, all throughout the off season. We are live with a quick little show breaking down the latest news and information, so you guys can help avoid some of that annoying ass clickbait that floats around this time of year, as I'm already seeing a lot of places start popping that stuff out left and right. And so absolutely annoying. Anyway, Spotty, before we get to the offensive side of the coaching changes, let's talk about a change that didn't happen that I know I was fully expecting to happen. And that was Vance Joseph staying with the Broncos. Honest question to you. Is that a good thing?
That's a good question. That is actually a really good question.
And I wish Ken was here because I would want to know Ken's thoughts on it too, because you know where I'm going with this. I want to hear you.
Yeah. If we talk about the beginning of this year, I mean, with the way that we went into our bye week, I would have told you VJ was gone. The way that we went right before we were playing the Commanders, I would be like, there's no way that VJ comes back. I feel like our defense did fall off a little bit after the bye week, starting with the Commanders game and then, of course, the Jaguars, which we all know the Jaguars may now be a team that we're going to be competing with on a regular basis. And a lot of these other teams, like, yes, we took 5 turnovers away from Buffalo, but they also put up like 460 yards, which is quite outrageous. As long as VJ has the ability to make adjustments, I think we'll be fine. As long as he has the ability to make adjustments. And this defense is going to be whole. So there's maybe we're missing one player after this year. We know that Jonathan Franklin Myers probably priced us out, and there's been no contact with him. Other than that, every other player besides PJ Locke is going to be back. So that is the good part. So then there's some continuity between the defense year over year. Everybody's going to come back. They know exactly what they should be doing. And then, of course, we're hoping the players that we have drafted step into those roles of the areas that we're missing.
Yeah.
So yes, let's say it's a good thing.
Okay. I love the comfort that comes with Clayton. How you doing, man? The continuity. because it's something that we haven't seen in Broncos country for so long. Sean Payton has beaten the 2-year curse. Okay. He has beaten the 2-year curse. And so the fact we have this continuity on basically every side, except for some, assistant coaches and whatnot,
like Jim Leonard.
Yeah, I love that, but I keep going back to all the situations at the end of the season, and I'm wondering. Look, it's great that we start the season off strong, but 2 years in a row now we faltered near the end of the season. I don't want change for change's sake, but if this happens 3 years in a row, I'm probably going to be hoping he's out of the building next year. Not to say I'd love him for everything he's done. Everything I said about him after that 70-20 game, I retract fully, right? But at some point, if there's a pattern like that, you got to say we can't do this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. So that'll be interesting.
I also do believe some upgrades in certain areas, and if Jared was here, I'd probably have to put $1 in the inside linebacker jar. But
sure would.
As a lot of you know, I've never felt really comfortable with our inside linebackers in this entire year and last year. And in this particular NFL, running backs and tight ends have the ability to kill you. So those are the adjustments that I'm looking for. And Brandon Jones being gone at the end of the year too also had an effect. So if we can upgrade where we should upgrade, there's no reason that this Broncos team shouldn't be back on top. We know we're going to get there on sacks, right? So,
yep. And if we just add some turnovers, and I think what Adam was saying before, like the fact, I think it was more of a weird thing versus us doing something wrong. Now, I will say I would love to see a little bit more, and I saw it more at the end of the season, but more reaching for the ball, trying to rip it out, punching at it, right? Actually actively fighting to get the ball. I like to at least see that, at least so optically, and be like, oh, we're trying. Oh, it's close. It's going to pop out one of these times, right? But I think if we, do the same thing we did next year, and some of those, balls go our way a little bit more in terms of interceptions and turnovers, dude, I think it's just an even better defense. So, and takes the pressure off the offense. Now, if anything else to say about defense before we move on?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just because you had me speak immediately thinking, my favorite player in the draft is someone who does exactly that, KevDan. His name is Jacob Rodriguez. He went to Texas Tech, and he had more turnovers by himself than the Broncos team had total outside of the postseason. So he's not going to end up on a team, but if there's a person that you're going to be like, that's Spottsville's, sign of approval, it's Jacob Rodriguez. He's inside linebacker, like 7 picks, 4 forced fumbles. Wild.
So where would you say he goes in the draft?
They got him outside of the first round. Like right now they have him like a day 2 kind of player, whereas would probably be perfect, but
okay.
He's slightly small, and by slightly small, he's same height as Greenlaw, but like 5 pounds less than him.
Well, if he's one of those guys that look, I think there'll be a lot of emphasis in the draft free agency on offense, but obviously if we can get something going on defense to just kind of put us up to the next level, and you still want an inflow of youth on that side, right? So I like where we're sitting though. You're right, like we don't need a million things to go our way. We just need a couple solid players, and I think that means we have some room to play with on money wise and everything too.
Yeah,
and draft capital.
Oh yeah.
Before we go to the offense side of the ball, guys, Discord channel for Broncos Country going in the chat window right now for everybody. Head on over to that link if you're a Discord user and chat with Broncos Country as that page grows out and gets ready for what is going to be an even more awesome season next year. And it's going to be September before you know it, guys. It will be, because you got the preseason games before that. You got training camp before that. You got the draft and the free agents. I mean, it's basically like September right now, if you think about it. It's basically here. So just hang on for a little bit and it'll fly by. Now, here's the big news of the week. And, well, is it a rumor or is it actually going to happen? Sean Payton getting rid of relinquishing play calling responsibilities and handing that over to the new offensive coordinator, Davis Webb. What do you think, man?
Am I the worst one to talk about this? I feel like if there was
well, no, I think
have
it's
David
good
on this, or because
Yeah.
you know how I feel about Sean Payton. I'm not. He's a great coach. He's an absolutely stellar head coach. He's also coached us a little bit stuck in the past. If I will be delightfully happy if he gives up play calling. And not just because I'm sick and tired of screens, Angelo, there you go, but also the way that everyone has been talking about Davis Webb, they've been talking about like he's a wonderkin, right? When you talk about guys like this, when you think of the other wonderkins, you think about the LaFleur's and the McDaniels and the Shanahans and the Kevin O'Connells. If you let a wonderkin leave the building without taking advantage of any of that, you failed. So if he does not give up play calling after pulling everything he fired Joe freaking Lombardi, who has been with him forever, who is his left-hand man for so many years, to bring in this guy. I think it's time to give up the play calling. Like I have to think that if Davis Webb pulled his name from any of these head coaching jobs, that was part of the contract.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that he got to that idea so quickly. And I think maybe it was out of necessity. I mean, when he sat there in the press conference at the end of the season talking about how he's really going to look back at he's taking the onus for the play calling and he's going to look and see what he could have done better. It's not easy for somebody who's been, the offensive play caller and has been labeled this offensive genius and stuff to just go, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm fine. This is fine. You take it over for a little bit. Let's see, and like in a good way. Like, let's see, yeah, I'm sure this will be just fine. Let's try it. That takes a lot. Like that's swallowing some pride right there. So
it really is.
I just wonder if we're going to be sitting here this time next year going, I wish he would take responsibility back. Like that was not good. but I don't think that no, it wouldn't. But it's almost better to just deal with the devil that you do know than the devil that you don't. And so it's like, look, they huge compliments from Davis Webb from tons of different people. Obviously, they wanted him to stay to the point of getting rid of Lombardi and offering this to him. And I think that was part of like, hey, stay with us and you'll get the play calling responsibilities as well. And so I'm going to trust that he is going to be able to figure things out pretty quickly. And it's good that he already knows the team and he already knows the quarterback, right? We're not bringing in somebody from the outside that's trying to figure everything out in addition to learning what Sean Payton expects and calling that kind of game. So.
Michael, this is my favorite comment because really there isn't.
We're a game manager, right?
Yeah. It's just like having a defense, like a defensive minded coach, and they call the plays. It's just wild, but it just kind of shows you how funky the NFL can be about that. You may have the smartest guy in the world down on your bench who helps out with the day-to-day stuff, but you don't want to call plays. Who knows? Again, I'm not inside of a front office. There's a reason I'm doing this from my office instead of down at the Broncos stadium, right? The last thing I'd say about it is it sounds like Davis Webb has a really good relationship with Bo, and I think that did play a factor in this. That's for Davis Webb. It's the devil instead of the devil you don't know, right? He could have gone to the Raiders and been the head coach, and hopefully you have a first round pick quarterback that you come in that you don't really know his capabilities or anything like that. My gut says he's going to give up play calling. That's really all I have to say. My gut says he's going to give up play calling, and I think it'd be a little more of a shock if he didn't.
Yeah, I do believe it's going to be for the better. I just really hope that I'm right about that at the same time, because the offense was average, slightly above average, right? They're not in a position to take any steps backwards, right? If they held steady, we could still find ourselves in the Super Bowl next year, right? Yeah. So if the defense did what they did this year, offense stays steady, okay. But if we're able to take a step forward, with this offense, really crack into the top 10. We already protect the football really well. We demonstrated multiple times at the end of the season there that we can control the clock, take long extended drives, and just kill the other team, with little paper cuts left and right all day long until they're just done. So if we can just be a little bit more consistent with scoring points, man, this is a team that, as Pastor Tan said, can be scary. And it's not just, oh man, we have to face the Denver defense. It's, oh man, we got to face the Denver offense too. You talk about things that teams just, don't want to look forward to as a team that has both scary offense and defense.
And battle tested.
Yep.
I get it. Like everybody says that it's not a skill to win one-score games, but I'm telling you, the teams that have won the most one-score games over the last couple of years have probably got a couple of Super Bowls underneath their belt. So this team, yes, it's not a skill, quote unquote, but this particular team that's bringing almost everybody back next year. Like I understand you go through free agency, you're always going to lose people. But there's not a lot of players that the Broncos, like in key positions, that you're like, ooh, we're going to lose that guy. We can't replace him and all that. No, like we've locked up a lot of the people. So we're talking about, of our 22 guys that are coming back, let's give it 85% are going to be on the team next year, and they are ones that had the ability to win 14 games with 11 or 12 of being, one score.
Yeah, I love it, man. Battle test is good, and it's more of a mentality thing of, so what if we're down? Like, we can do this, and man, I tell you, seriously, if Bo just goes out there every time with a mentality of there's 30 seconds on the clock, we're down by 6, we need a touchdown to win, go make it happen. Like you're not going to stop the guy. So right. I like it, man. Right. Any other coaching changes you want to talk about before we end the show, man?
It's a shame to lose Jim Leonhard. Good, good luck to him going over to Buffalo. He's going to win a lot of games,
just no Super Bowls, but yeah.
And then, but other than that, honestly, the rest of everybody else that's kind of gone.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, like 100%. Like we're retaining every coordinator. Or we're bringing in Davis Webb, so technically we lost Lombardi, but that might be an upgrade. Van Strosa's back. Sounds like Rizzo's probably going to stay as well. Special teams, which I don't know if that, whatever. That's not what gets you up in the morning. But hey, I love the fact that this team is going to almost be whole next year. So the rookies that we're bringing in which probably won't be a lot, and the free agents are just adding pieces to this Super Bowl contender.
I love to hear it. Super Bowl freaking contender. Guys, we'll share a quick couple thoughts, closing thoughts here in just a second. Remember, we're live, this show, Bourbon Broncos No BS, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time throughout the offseason. Make sure you tune in. And we're going to get the announcement out here soon about when we're going to do the fan appreciation show as well, which is a time that you definitely are going to tune in, because we always do a ton of Broncos giveaways to say thank you guys as our fans for supporting us, not just through this last year, but through 10 seasons. You guys have put up with us for 10 whole seasons now. Are you kidding me? What are you still doing here? Why? I'm just kidding. Please stay. So appreciate all of you guys. And so make sure you stick around for that announcement. Let's get Kevin some bacon grease for the beard. No, it's fine. It's fine how it is. I don't need anything else in there. Spotty, sir, buddy, thank you for being here tonight. And what closing thoughts do you have for us, man?
There's going to be a lot of, things to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. And I think we should be happy on almost every single one of them. This team has shown the ability to draft well, the ability to bring in the right free agents, and the ability to evaluate well. I don't know, it's probably unsaid. Like it's one of those things that people forget all the time. But I saw a stat about the teams like the Vikings and how many of the players that they've drafted over the last 4 or 5 years actually gave them starts, actually gave them a good amount of starts and a high amount of percentage of those starts. And the Broncos are high up on the list of players that they drafted, that they brought in, that are that are contributing in a way that's allowing them to win footballs. If we can continue to do that, man, we're going to be talking about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 wins all the time.
All the time. I'm not going to give my season prediction quite yet. Let's at least wait for this schedule to come out, but I already do have a number in mind. And you're right. And it's not just the number of wins, but it's, hey, are we going to get the Super Bowl this year? Because there's really no reason why we shouldn't, right? And not saying that we will every year, but when you're in that kind of situation with a franchise quarterback, with a team that's young and healthy, this is the time to go. This is not the time to stock up on draft capital. This isn't the time to be overly cautious with your cap space money. Be smart, but do what you need to do to get the people in the building you need to get to that next level. And maybe the conversation for next week with whoever our guest will be, would you rather come to Denver or go to LA with the Chargers? I'm thinking Denver, man. So anyway, Spotty, thank you very much to everybody in the chat tonight. Thank you very much. You guys are phenomenal as always. Spotty, buddy, I know we've been talking for a while, but I don't know about you. I have nothing left to say other than this show, as we always do, with a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go